During this Lifegroup series, we're going to be talking through Tish Harrison Warren's great book, The Liturgy of the Ordinary. In the book, she reminds us that throughout our lives, God is working, that there's no such thing as secular and sacred, that God's sacredness is revealed through every moment of life. And so what she does is she walks us through a typical day, through all of the different moments of the day, to challenge us to see where God is at work and how we can be a part of what God is doing in our lives. And she starts right at the very beginning of the day. So what happens at the beginning of your day? I'm not talking about the moment where you go to school or you go to work. I'm talking about the very first moment of your day, when you roll over and you wake up. You know that moment? Some of you probably pop right out of bed and get moving, but most of us struggle in those moments when the alarm goes off to really connect with what's going on around us. And it's in those moments that we are our most human. In those moments before we put on any clothes, in those moments before we put on any of our identities, there we are who we truly are, with the messed up hair and the bad breath and the line of the pillow on the side of the face. That's when we are who we really are. And it's in those moments of remembering that that's who we are that we can remember our baptisms. Because in our baptism, we remember that God takes us exactly as we are, warts and all. It doesn't matter. God claims us by grace and love. That's our story we get to tell. That's the story that defines us. You know, in the United Methodist Church, we practice infant baptism. And to some people, that's confusing. Maybe to you, that's strange and that's odd because an infant, a baby, can't choose Jesus. But here's what we believe about that. We believe that even before any of us choose, God's love is working in us. God's love of creation and redemption and salvation is claiming us. And so what the parents do for the child is they say that even when this child doesn't understand God's love, we're claiming God's love for them. And that's a reminder for all of us that it doesn't matter where we are in life. It doesn't matter what successes we've had or what failures we've had. God's love claims us, even in those first few moments when we roll out of bed in the morning. We, in that moment, or maybe more than any moment, clearly God's. Because in that moment, we aren't a businesswoman or a businessman. We're not a lawyer. We're not a student. We're not known as liberal or conservative. We simply are. And when we start our day with that kind of revelation, with that kind of understanding, then what it does for us is it reminds us then that every day is significant. Every day is God's, because in every day we get to live as a child of grace. So that day, when you have way too many meetings, it's a gift from God for you. That day when you are worried and anxious, it's God's gift to you. That long string of days when it's monotonous and boring and mundane and it just repeats over and over and you're not sure what your purpose is in those days are God's gift to you. When we begin our day with the awareness that we are graced for that day, then it changes our perspective on how we engage the rest of the day. One of my favorite passages of Scripture is in Lamentations chapter 3. Lamentations, if you read the book, is exactly what it sounds like. It's one long lament. It's one long statement of how wrong things are, how terrible things are, how people have made mistakes, and now they're suffering the consequences of all those mistakes. But in the middle of the book, we get these unbelievable words right in the heart of the book. The writer says, "But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." New every morning. In those first moments when you struggle to wake up and get moving, in those moments, God's grace is new for you. This is what Tish Warren says about this. She says, God is forming us into a new people, and the place of that formation is in the small moments of today. So here's what you can do. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, when your eyes bolt open, have something ready beside your bed that reminds you that you are a child of grace, and the day in front of you is God's gift. Maybe, just maybe, that will change how you engage that day.